it looks like the Democrats and the Republicans have got the distraction of the week cooked up. They want to carry on about the red hen and Maxine Waters' psychological breakdown. But in any event, folks, let's get to the heart of the matter and let's talk about the global currency, the global economic reset that the World Bank and the IMF claim are necessary because the world has been looted for so much money. The world has been looted for so much money that the IMF and the World Bank claim that they need to reset the currency, reset the economies all over planet Earth. Now, I think I know this guy that's been carrying on about the massive looting of the financial system and this unbelievable looting of the financial system that's been going on for decades. I think I know that fella pretty well. Which brings me to my next point. You see, ladies and gentlemen, when you blow the whistle so loudly and you spread it all over the planet, it creates a situation where these sorry sacks of manure can no longer rob the banks and rob the savings and loans and rob the mortgage system carte blanche. They can't go about looting as normal or looting as usual, excuse me. But this causes a situation wherein these economic resources are required to be legitimately invested in enterprises that actually create profits. In other words, Donald Trump, you did not by yourself fix the economy. That's just a load of malarkey. The credit does not belong to Donald Trump for fixing this economy. I know an awful lot of people that have gone to great lengths to fix this lousy, crooked, gangster, bankster financial swindle that not only the United States has suffered, but the whole world. Now, to all the people that think that I'm a nut, ask yourself a question. Why does the World Bank and the IMF claim that the global financial system has been so massively robbed that we need a global currency reset? How in the hell does that make me wrong? How does that make what I've been doing since the 1980s, Donald Trump, write that down, President Trump, since the 1980s, Mr. Pence, this fella right here, and quite a few of his friends have spent huge amounts of effort and time shutting down the gangster banksters. How does that make us crazy? And now the economy seems to be chugging right along. Donald Trump. Now, to Maxine Waters and all these other psychopathic idiot liberals that want to flood the United States with every so-called refugee and every person that just wants to jump the fence from every country around the world, employing what Hillary Clinton refers to as open borders. I got a message for Hillary Clinton. Shut the you-know-what up. Shut up, Hillary. Somebody needs to put some handcuffs on that freaking nut job and her husband, the blowjob Bill. Lock them up. Those people are nuts. And I guess Maxine Waters just doesn't want to talk about where all these looted trillions are. There's a subject for you, Maxine Waters. Let's talk about where the hell all this money that's been stolen, where it is, and whose pockets that it's in. How about that, Bill Clinton? And while you're at it, let's get Laura Bush into this conversation. And her husband there, George W. And Poppy Big H and Neil Bush. And Jebby, let's get Jebby in this conversation with Marvin Bush of the Wilmington, Delaware Wilmington Trust. Old Uncle Marvin. BB&T Bank. They're on the eastern seaboard. All up and down through New England, up to Maine, and down into the Carolinas, and down to Florida. Let's talk about where in the flying hell all these trillions went to. Bush and Clinton. Now I want to bring a lady into this conversation that everybody should know. Her name's Kat Wolford. Hey, Kat. My old friend from Houston, Texas, Kat Wolford, the White Elephant Bank Liquidation Specialist for the FDIC, who went to work for Carlyle Group in Bearing Point, and now is a big-time consultant to the International Monetary Fund and the World Bank. That Catherine Wolford. And we can bring Show Me the Money, Catherine Austin Fitts, into this conversation with Professor William Black and Matt Taibbi and Michael Winston and Richard Bowen and Gretchen Morgensen. Come on down, all of you. And let's discuss the massive, gargantuan looting and robbing of the American financial system, Whitewater and Castle Grande style. I said that correctly. All these speculative, get-rich-quick real estate schemes and scams, like what Blowjob Bill and his pals up there in Arkansas on the White River were engaged in. Now I'm going to wind this one up because I guess I've been having some battery problems with this computer. So we're going to end this one with the Lamar Terrace gang. Lamar Terrace. They're all around the Galleria in uptown Houston. All around the Houstonian Estates residence of George and Barbara. Old Babs. Let's bring Babs. I know she's dead now, but let's bring Babs into this conversation with Laura Bush. Laura, let's discuss the gargantuan looting of the Texas real estate and banking system. Let's talk about that. And you can get your pal from up there to Conroe, old Nelda Luce, Radabow Blair. You know, Jim Blair's wife. Nelda. And get a hold of that U.S. Secret Service agent, Rick Williams. He's up there at ConocoPhillips. He's head of their security. He used to be the Secret Service agent guarding the football out there on Allen Parkway at the Secret Service offices. And let's discuss this giant, massive scam called Adnan Khashoggi and Mr. Ghorbanifar and Norton Secord and Roland Carnaby and the Bin Ladens and Herman K. Beebe and Mainland Savings and Western Banks. Let's not forget Western Banks and Allied Banks and every other bank in the whole area. You know, here's a factoid for you, and I want everybody listening to write it down. 9,872 individual savings and loans and banks. 9,872 savings and loans and banks got padlocked and shut down during the 1980s and the 1990s. And there's a whole bunch more of them today. And that's because they've decided that massive, unchecked, very criminal real estate speculation and development, the real estate casino, is the way to rob banks and S&Ls. And apparently, it's gone on all over the world. From Iceland to Greece to Turkey to Spain to England to to Ireland, where they threw Hillary Clinton out the other day. They were screaming at Hillary to go home. And down there at, oh, what's that name of that little, Australia, there we go. I knew I could spit it out. Australia's been robbed too, with these funny little dirt deals, like what's gone on all over Utah and California and Oregon, and let's see, Arizona and Texas and Florida and New York and Vermont, New Hampshire, and Maine, and let's see, Poconos and Pennsylvania. These real estate schemes and scams seem to be all over the United States, from Hawaii to Maine to Florida and up to Alaska.